Hello and salutations, all of you great people out there, especially those of you who are Dan Campbell fans. I love that man. He's a great coach. Welcome to Respawn Aim Fire, the Kick-Ass Irreverent Gaming Podcast from RAF Idiots. I'm one of your host, Adam. He loves the Lions in the offseason, Gumbert. And today we have with us Alex. Doesn't watch any sports. Jesus, Alex is not here. Good Lord. Chad Michael doesn't like any sports in us.
Yeah, I'm going to give me a guess. I'm going to guess, you said it's Lions and Dan Rather is the
Campbell.
coach? Dan Campbell is the coach. I'm going to guess we're talking about, the Montgomery Biscuits, which is a sport that I made up last night after I found out about a minor league baseball team called the Montgomery Biscuits. And then I said, how about it's a sport called biscuits instead? And it's old ladies chucking biscuits into a bucket. And so Dan Campbell coaches the Lions in biscuits.
In your biscuit league.
Yeah. Was that
Sorry,
close?
Al, you're going to have to wait. I have a tangent to go on. The funny thing, I happened to be looking, last night I was Googling minor league baseball teams because my city has a minor league team, or did. Apparently they left the MLB minor league circuit, and they're now a different team for a different, like, affiliated, whatever. They're not minor league anymore. They used to be Lexington Legends. I think they were an Astros AAA team. I don't remember who it was. But my friend used to work for a team that is still a minor league team called the Pensacola Blue Wahoos.
Blue Wahoos!
Okay.
Look up that logo. It's very, very cool.
Okay.
But anyways, Alec Bobko, which is the singular of Alex, which is plural. Chad explained this to me earlier. But Alec, thank you for joining us today. You're stepping in and stepping up. Tell everyone about you and what you're doing, because I think you're cool. So let everyone else know about it.
Yeah, so I am the host and one of the founders of a content creation group called Shared Screens. And we do make YouTube videos, podcasts. You can follow us everywhere. You just Google not Google Share Screens, because you're going to find a lot of informational articles on how to share your screen. So the best place, let's see, brain is having a brain fart, but yeah, youtube.com/shared screens, twitter.com/shared screens, and yeah, find us on podcast services everywhere. We have a lot of pop culture podcasts. We have a Star Wars one, and then we do a lot of game reviews.
It's very good stuff. I like it. I'm there. I listen every week. I'm in the Discord. Come join. It's a good time. By the way, in our Discord chat, I just sent you the logo of the Pensacola Blue Wahoos.
It looks like Basculegion from Pokemon.
I have to agree with you.
I can see that. Yeah.
Because I don't know.
I have a single A minor league team in my town, the Grand Rapids, or the West Michigan Whitecaps. It's a Detroit Tigers affiliate team.
God, I love minor league teams naming, and it's just ridiculous. Biscuits is literally a real team, like Chad was saying.
Yes,
so I
Montgomery
love it. It's
Biscuits
like
is real.
Whitecaps, Wahoos. It just doesn't matter.
Whitecaps is a pretty cool
Bananas.
logo too. It's like an angry wave eating a baseball.
Well, you know that because Whitecaps are like the white part of the wave.
Oh, the top of a wave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, Michigan famous for their 30-foot tall waves.
We have a minor league. We have a minor
Great
league
Lakes,
baseball team who is not as fun and is not as imaginative, and they are just the San Jose Giants. And their shit looks almost exactly like the San Francisco Giants.
I wonder who they're affiliated with. Some of the teams are just like that. It's like, hey, well, we're the one right step right underneath them. Let's just copy their name.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not as fun. You can catch us live on twitch.tv/AffleIdiots Sunday evenings, normally at 8:30 Eastern Time. YouTube and podcast services Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern. Upcoming on today's show, we have Zelda's here. I hope we have someone who's a Zelda fan here to talk about it.
Ooh.
We do. And then Sonic got murdered. But first, E3 also got murdered. It's from Rebecca Valentine at IGN.com. The Entertainment Software Association, the ESA, announced that this year's Electronic Entertainment Expo has been canceled. IGN can confirm. Two sources have confirmed to IGN that the organization announced the cancellation via an email sent out to its members. The email said that while E3, quote, remains a beloved event and brand, that the 2023 version simply did not garner the sustained interest necessary to execute it in a way that would showcase the size, strength, and impact of our industry. I've got a follow-up, and we'll do that in a second. But just initial, like, we know about it for a couple of days in our real life, but they really did it, man. They just straight up were like, we're done. What are your thoughts while I crack open this sugar-free hard Baja Blast Mountain Dew?
I wish you would have told me you were doing Mountain Dew Hard. I'd have gotten mine.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, we could kind of see the writing on the wall with Ubisoft, Sega, and all them kind of having pulled out of this year's E3. I think the question was more of a if, just kind of outweighing the cost of, is the bad publicity of being a bad E3 this year worth it, or do we just forego all the fees and cancellation fees and all that for the convention center and all that? And clearly we know which way they went. So
that is a question. Like, how much did this cost? Because I know, like, back in COVID era, maybe there's insurance for it now, but it was like they were not allowed to say things were canceled, even though COVID was canceling everything, because you just like couldn't get out of that contract if you just said it. So you had to wait for like the state to be like, yo, you can't do that. And they're like, oh, sorry, we can't do it. So I don't know if laws are different now or whatever, but I wonder, was it going to be that bad? They're like, we'll just take the bath on the millions of dollars or whatever the penalties would be. Because I'm sure that like convention center is like, well, you saved that time. We didn't give it to anybody else. We need our cut still. So that's, it's pretty serious when I'm assuming that they're willing to take a bath on that kind of money.
Yeah, didn't want to take the bad publicity because this convention was probably going to be pretty empty.
Yeah. I have a feeling they went around and they shopped this thing to people. They probably, I have this on the brain because I'm watching Hello Tomorrow on Apple TV, and it's just like this guy, his con man, who's selling spots on the moon to people. And so like they're going around to like, E3 is going to be amazing. It's going to be great. We're going to have all these people. I'm sure they're like going around to all the partners and vendors and stuff like that, selling them on this idea without necessarily having the actual stuff secured and ready to back up. And so it got close enough in time that everyone was like, do you really have anything lined up? And then as all these publishers are starting to say like, no, we didn't sign anything, we're not going to be there, then everyone else is like, oh shit, why am I going? Why am I supporting this? Which really sucks. Like honestly, I know we've said this for several years in a row now, but like I think this is the end for E3. I think if they couldn't bring it back in person at least this year, I don't think we're going to see it again. I think the people have spoken. I think that the publishers have shown that they are more interested and more flexibly able to create these digital presentations instead. And then there's just not a space for E3 in a world where Comic-Cons and PAXs and all of that kind of stuff exist. And it's no longer the announcement powerhouse that it was, and it would now have to become just an experience where people go and hang out and play games and stuff like that. And there are already way too many of those that exist.
Yep.
For that this can't also exist at the same time, which is unfortunate. Or perhaps can't exist at the same time, like literally at the same time that it used to be. Now that Summer Games Fest has that, maybe they move it to a different time of year and they refocus it to something more like a PAX in an area that doesn't necessarily have that traffic already. But I wouldn't be surprised, especially given the news of the CEO of Rocket, whatever it is, stepping down. I wouldn't be surprised if we just never see E3 again. Which sucks. But that's the future.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like everybody's been going to these showcases or online showcases, and E3 was more of a like almost like a business or marketing meeting to get those kind of deals made. Whereas to show everybody their stuff, it's like, hey, we can spend as much time on these showcases as we want and not have a hard deadline to have all these live things done.
Right.
Because I think that's what like Ubisoft the marketing ran into.
Sorry. What was
keep
that?
Going, Alec? About Ubisoft? I think the Ubisoft ran into of like their stuff just wasn't ready to show. Mm-hmm. Or like they might have had like one or two things, but not an entire showcase worth of showing things.
Yeah. It just makes more sense to do it on your own time and your own money. honestly, if I'm a company. Not, again, if it was 1998 and I'm trying to sell to Toys R Us, I understand why everyone has to meet up in a convention center.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it is no longer the place or time, and Toys R Us doesn't exist. So there's that as well.
Unfortunately.
Well, Toys R Us does exist now in Macy's.
I was just going to say.
Yeah. I guess this convention has now become it used to be hey, Toys R Us, this is what we're going to sell in your stores, and now it is like, this is the definition of this could have been an email now. Like, we could just email and say, here's the lineup of everything you're going to sell in your stores.
Hate to say it. I do have some follow-ups directly from the ESA after all the business went down. ESA spoke up about it. GameIndustry.biz has published an interview with ESA president and CEO Stanley Pierre-Louis. Stanley Pierre-Louis. Am I saying that correctly?
Probably. It looks French. I don't know if he identifies like as full French or whether he's just like he's become Americanized. It could be Pierre-Louis. I don't know.
Oh, I can't. Yeah. I could never say that. In which he was asked about what went wrong with the show and whether or not the show would return in the future. Which that second part, I would really like to know about the future. When asked what went wrong with the show this year, Pierre-Louis pointed to larger industry challenges that proved too large to surmount. Excuse me. This is all a quote now from him. First, several companies have reported that the timeline for game development has been altered since the start of the COVID pandemic. Second, economic headwinds have caused several companies to reassess how they invest in large marketing events. And third, companies are starting to experiment with how to find the right balance between in-person events and digital marketing opportunities. All of these things I could have told you 3 years ago. Later in the interview, Pierre-Louis was asked if ESA members were no longer interested in the event, what E3 could look like if it continued, if E3 needed the three big platform holders to have any chance of success, and if E3 return in 2024. A lot of questions, interviewer, a lot of questions. Pierre-Louis did not provide any direct answer to any of those questions, though he did seem to deny that communication was an issue in setting up E3 2023. I mean, the fact that when someone asks you a direct question of like, is this going to continue, or could you not do it because Nintendo, Microsoft, and PlayStation weren't there, and he's just like, no comment. Well, I don't know if he said no comment. He did not directly answer the questions. That just says to me, like, that probably was the issue.
That says it all.
Yep.
Yeah, that says it all to me. And
sometimes no answer is an answer.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen again. Maybe, again, completely different. Maybe do it as a PAX, but just call it E3 at a different time of the year. But I don't think what you think of E3 is ever a thing.
Do you think the brand E3 is toxic now? Like, if it came back as something else, do you think that it would have a chance? Because I feel like the conversation around E3 for the last 4 years has been E3 is dead, E3 is dying, nobody's going to E3, we don't need E3 anymore. We're like, but do you need E4? Or do you need C3 or whatever? Like, or, you know, some other random ass Summer Games festival announcement, summer gaming thing.
Well, I think that, that's like I said, there's so many like the publishers and platform or console makers, they have all their own showcases, so they don't necessarily need E3 like they used to. And then there's all these PAX events and like in-person Comic-Con, all that stuff, where it's like the in-person events not really needed. So yeah, I mean, I could see E3 just not coming back, or just that brand kind of dying off.
Yeah. And I mean, if you think about it, with Summer Game Fest having in-person activities this year, like, it kind of is E3. Yeah. Like, at least the marketing part of E3. Like, they literally just stole their lunch and changed the name.
Yeah.
I think E3 means nothing to us as people who like care about this kind of stuff. But like Today and Good Morning America and all that stuff would be like, oh, that's right, we used to cover E3 and they had the Wii there and Al Roker Bold. Remember that? That was a big thing. So maybe the name is... Yeah, he did. It was Al Roker. I remember.
That's the pinnacle of relevance.
Hey, man. Your grandma bought the Wii because she watched Al Roker Bowl with it. So I think the name is, as a mainstream thing, is probably more relevant. But again, to any of us who actually are in the know and care, like, people have forgotten since Al Roker Bold that E3 is a thing. You know, they have to be reminded.
Oh, yeah.
So... you know, it mattered to them, but it doesn't matter to us. And at the end of the day, who matters more?
Me.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. So I guess we'll move on to playtime. This is where we talk about the things that we played and watched this week. I'm going to start because I just said the thing about watching. So I don't know about, I know Chad is definitely not for sure, besides looking up his local minor league teams. I've never been a baseball guy.
I have been a baseball guy. I grew up a Braves fan.
Okay.
I was a baseball guy until I got
nice.
too busy to care about sports. But
Okay, I didn't know you were baseball. I just know you don't like football, which is the greatest sports of all time. But that's
true.
fine.
Yeah,
So I started playing.
zero. I don't think I've even seen a full football game. Not even a Super Bowl.
You're upsetting. I started playing MLB The Show. 23, is that the number on it? Yeah.
Yep.
I've played the show before. I'm like, this is really cool, but I played T-ball as a kid, but I never cared about baseball. Football grabbed me and I stayed with that. But I was like, man, I would like to actually play a good sports game for once. It's been a couple years. So I got into it and I just put my head down. I'm like, I don't know the rules. I don't know how this works, but I'm going to learn baseball. So I've literally learned parts of baseball through playing MLB The Show. And I just went hard on it for like 5 or 6 hours straight. I'm like, I'm going to learn. So I'm in the minor leagues. Might face the Whitecaps here one of these days. But yeah, I'm learning it. I'm having it's a great game, but I'm just like, I need to learn baseball because even still trying to bat, it's like too early. I'm like, I don't know when I'm supposed to fucking swing at a baseball.
Well, I tell you what, it would be a lot easier if you were playing the one with the move controller, where you swing the move controller and you pitch with it. That was the last MLB The Show I played, and then you could cross save with the Vita.
Perfection. Oh yeah,
like 2014.
Yeah.
But I'm learning. I'm getting there. It is very good. Alec, have you played MLB at all?
I've downloaded this year's. I literally just downloaded it last night. I haven't got a chance to actually boot it up yet. But the show has always been a game that I always pop into at least some point during the baseball season. Just like I like that road to the show game mode, where you build up your player and bring them up from minor leagues into the majors. And it's always just kind of that game. You just kind of easy, just put a stream podcast on and just kind of go to town, just because it's like any other sports game. You hear the same commentary after about 3 games. So don't really need to listen to it. You just need to pay attention and all that, or not, to play the game and all that. And especially with Road to the Show, you can get through quite a few games in a quick amount of time just because you're only playing the moments your player is involved in. So you're not playing entire games.
Oh yeah, I'm getting through games in like 4 minutes sometimes. Like because I'm a two-way player, so I pitch and then I'm a batter. But there's certain games where I only bat like 3 times, and it's like 4 minutes and I'm done with this game.
Yep,
which is great. And again, I've got my podcast listening to Spider-Man in review, just having a good time with that. So fucking fun. But yeah, I'm learning baseball. It's a fun time. Next up, pour one out for this week is about things dying, by the way. I played Marvel's Avengers. I reinstalled
why?
Well, because the last update just went live on last Friday.
Okay.
So everything is free now. So again, I haven't played this game in forever. I get on there again. It's content complete. There's all these updates. And I go on. It's like, oh, everything's unlocked now. And it's like, I had Thor loaded up and I clicked on Thor. And it's like, oh, there's 50 costumes that are unlocked now because they just put it in the game. But, I wasn't playing it to unlock it at that time. So it's like, oh, yeah, let me just put on Endgame Thor just right now and go run around and do missions. So I'm having fun. Again, I probably just want to finish the content that's in the game and be done with it forever. But it was cool to just be able to okay, it's complete. Because I had, like we talked about, we had fun playing the single player and then the end game stuff I didn't care about. But it's like, all right, make my dude look cool. The game's been a little bit simplified. And I'm having fun. I'm doing the War for Wakanda stuff right now. Running around as Black Panther, kicking people, real high kicks and fun. So it's all right. But I was just, I'm in that time of year where I'm like, man, I wish Star Wars was out already because I would have been playing that.
Yeah,
right.
I'm playing Marvel's Avengers
soon.
End of the month.
Are you on a console where you get to play as the Spider-Mans?
No. I was not going to go get that game on PlayStation for that one bad character.
Isn't it?
I'm sure it's just a reskin of Black Widow.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Isn't it? I'm wrong. It's not on the PS Plus, like extra or premium or something like that. I know
it's been in one of those services for PlayStation at some point. I just don't know if it's there now.
Gotcha.
I haven't looked. So it might be. I'll go restart a new game so I can go play Spider-Man. No, I've got the superior Spider-Man and Marvel's Midnight Suns. It's all good. And then lastly, I watched a thing that we've all seen. It's called Dungeons and Dragons: Honors Among Thieves.
Yeah,
great movie.
Hey, doggy, let me tell you. So everyone knows, but Alec, you don't know. So I'm going to tell you. I am huge D&D dude. Been doing a D&D podcast we looked it up the other day. I think it's been 4 years, 5 years.
Oh,
we've been playing together. Not podcast has been out that whole time. So I've been in D&D for a long time. So getting down and watch this movie, it's like, oh man, this is a summer blockbuster. Like, have fun, silly times. But it's like all the reference. Like, I feel like this and then going to see Mario next week are like, hey, we're gonna have a fun, goofy time, and if you know the reference, here's 100 references to the thing that you like.
Yeah,
I am into this movie, man. I'm ready to go watch it again.
I just found myself getting excited, like when they would just mention places, like, oh, and then we're gonna go down to Baldur's Gate, and I was like, oh. And then they're like, oh, we gotta go to the Underdark, and I was like, oh, are we gonna see Drizzt? No, it turns out we didn't see anybody interesting in the Underdark.
Well. But that's the thing. I mean, for me, it's like that dragon, the big chunky dragon.
Oh, God, we need more chunky dragons. We need more chunky dragons.
He is pretty cool, but good time. Really good time.
Like, I'm just recently into D&D, and so I got like some references and all that, because I've actually, before I even started playing D&D, I've been on, somehow I got onto D&D TikTok, on that side of TikTok. So I've been getting some of the references and all that. But the weapon that really stood out to me was the Paladin sword. Like the moment where he like uses it as a projectile and he still has a dagger. I'm like, come on.
Yeah. And then he just goes skink and reattaches the sword in that guy's chest.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And then uses it like some sort of magic on it. It's like, come on. This is such a cool weapon. Like, just give me a game with that, like, mechanic.
It's really cool. It's a really fun movie. I would say if you have any interest in, especially if you like D&D, you'll get a lot of it. But if you just like, it's Chris Pine being goofy and having fun, just go watch a fun Chris Pine movie for an hour and a half.
And also the cameo in the middle of the movie.
So good.
Cracked up. He's the king of cameos. What was the other movie where he played a cameo and he was just like, oh my God. Oh, it was like an artsy movie where this kid plays, I gotta look it up.
Piano? Someone plays piano?
No.
You look it up because I have no idea what reference you're talking about.
It was something pizza.
Oh, Licorice Pizza? Is he in that
Licorice
movie?
Pizza, yes. He has a role in there as some Madonna's husband or something like that. He's somebody's famous husband. Okay. And he is fucking hysterical. It stole the movie. He's my favorite part of that movie. And then this too. Okay. Like I saw him too. I was like, no fucking way.
That's cool.
It's great.
I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. It was really cool. But speaking of E3 and Dungeons and Dragons, Chad, it's that time. Give me the jingle.
We haven't talked about anything that Alec or I played.
We're going to get to it after I do my thing.
Okay. Segment from Adam, segment. That's the clown song when you hear like see clowns getting out of a car.
That one. All right. So what I decided to do today, we played this before. Last time we played this, I played, is it D&D or is it Bloodborne? When I was like, I asked Chad a series of questions. Is this item or person or thing or whatever in D&D or is it in Bloodborne? And he did all right. Not great. He's never really good at these games.
What are you talking about?
No, you were great. You were great. This time, I'm playing, is it E3 or is it D&D?
Oh.
Ooh.
So what I've done is, I have a series of 10 things. You guys are both going to give me guesses.
Okay.
I have a series of 10 things. It's either a place, a person, or an item. I'll tell you beforehand. And it's either, whatever. It's either a thing from Dungeons and Dragons or a thing from a game announced or shown at E3. And I will say, to make it easier, because that's a lot of history, E3 2018 up until now. So think of basically any AAA game from 2018 until now could potentially be in this game we're playing. So we'll go to number one. Again, you're going to tell me if it's D&D or if it's E3. Number one, Sierra Nueva. This is a place. Sierra Nueva. Is that a place from D&D or is that a place from a thing that was shown at E3?
All I can think about is Sierra, the software company, which has been dead a long time. I'm gonna say Sierra Nueva. That sounds, I don't know. It sounds a little too ethnic for D&D, so I'm gonna say it's E3.
Okay, you guys think it's from a video game, basically, is what we're saying.
Yep.
Okay. It is the place that you play in Forza 5's the DLC for Forza Horizon 5.
Oh.
So
yep.
It is from E3.
My thought was Starfield. I don't know. For some reason, Starfield just stuck out to me. So I mean, Xbox, same vein. So
yeah, it's an Xbox game.
I just thought there's no way D&D would have Spanish in it.
Yeah, you might think they might have other stuff.
Yeah.
All right, number two. This one is also a place, D&D or E3. Spine of the World. Can you tell me what Spine of the World is from?
Oh, I'm gonna say D&D for sure.
Oh,
I have a feeling this is not part of my guess. Like, I'm not wrong if this is wrong, but like Spine of the World sounds like a dope, like legendary weapon or something like that.
Interesting.
oh yeah. I'm just thinking because like I know that's close to a location in a God of War game, but it's like I'm just thinking like, is that it? But like, I go D&D. Yeah,
You go, and then guys, keep your scores by putting your fingers up when you
Yeah,
get
I've got
something right.
6. Oh, sorry, 6.
No, you've got 1.
Oh, damn it.
And you both have 2 because Spine of the World is from D&D.
Nice.
Yeah.
Little Easter egg here for you. At the beginning of that D&D movie, when it shows up the title screen and shows the map, where they start the movie at, it is right below it, and you see it like as they're walking on like the glaciers. Spine of the World, by the way. It is a place in D&D. All right.
Cool.
Next up, this is an item that's either in a video game or D&D. Black Razor.
D&D.
I'm gonna go E3. This sounds
Black
like
Razor.
a cool like AR from the Division or something.
That sounds like something Tom Clancy, right? But no, it's a weapon in D&D. It is a legendary weapon. It's alive and it can talk to you, which is pretty a pretty fun one. I need to start marking these off whenever I'm doing these. Okay, Adam, let's play around. Next up, we'll do another item. No, actually, we're going to do another place. Faerun. Is Faerun from D&D or is it from something that was shown at E3?
I feel like it's in
This
many
is
things.
on the border. This is on the like my mind kind of goes to Fable, but at the same time, it's like that's kind of like that high fantasy, but that's also a lot in D&D. So I'm like, it's literally a coin flip. So I'm gonna go E3.
I feel like I see, like for some reason, I feel like Faerun, no, maybe it's just Fae from God of War. Faerun.
Yeah.
D&D. I'm going to go D&D.
All right.
But I also feel like it's in
Faerun.
every, like, I don't know, is it in that Square Enix game that bombed this year too, Forspoken?
Forspoken. Yeah, I wish I could have that time
I'm
back.
going to say it's D&D. It's D&D.
D&D. By the way, I feel so bad for Alec. I remember he's like, I'm the lead reviewer on that. I'm like, oh, buddy, I'm sorry.
Yep. Because nobody else wanted to play that game.
Oh, man. But Faerun is from D&D. It is the name of the entire world that the movie takes place in, as well as a lot of Baldur's Gate, the video game. Like everything, all the popular D&D stuff is in the world of Faerun. All right. Next up, we're going to go with a person. Grand Unifier Raker. Is that from D&D or is that from something shown at E3?
Grand Unifier Raker?
Yes. That is the character's name.
I'm going E3. That sounds like it's from some
That sounds
Gears
like
of
it's
War kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that. Or like I'm thinking like the leader of a cult in Dying Light 2 or something. So I'm gonna go E3.
Okay, you're both correct. It's the main antagonist of the Guardians of the Galaxy video game.
Oh, no wonder that's why it sounds familiar.
The Universal
I'm like,
Life Church bad guy. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to give you guys a curveball. Not a curveball, fastball. What's an easy ball to hit?
Change up.
Sure, I'm giving you something easy. Johnny Silverhand. Is that from
that's
E3?
E3.
That's E3.
That's E3.
That's Keanu Reeves,
Yes.
John Wick, Papa John's.
That's him. Even though
He's breathtaking.
You're
you're
breathtaking.
Oh,
Even though technically he's a character in Cyberpunk 2077, which is a tabletop RPG, but we're not going to count that. All right, next is a place. Galar.
How do you spell it?
that's E3.
Galar.
Yeah, that's E3. That's Pokemon. That's Pokemon Sword and Shield. Takes place in the Galar region.
Yep.
Well, congratulations. You both got it correct. Look at y'all. Very good. All right. Next up, Volo. This is a person.
Only live
Volo.
once.
Only live once. That's him. Volo.
Spelled VOLO?
Yep.
Okay.
D&D.
I'm just because I don't. How many points do I have? 7, 8?
You're
10?
supposed to be keeping count, not me.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm going to go, just so we're different. Yeah, just so that we're not tied anymore, I'm going to go E3, because I have no idea.
All right, Volo is a character in D&D. He's a main character. By the way, there's a certain portrait that's in that movie that is him on the portrait. All right. I've got one more person and one more item. All right, we're gonna go item first. Tell me if this item is D&D or E3. A stim canister.
That's E3.
That's E3. Yeah.
Chad, what's it from? Since you're so confident.
I can't right now place my finger on it, but it's definitely something that like you just go. It's like, oh, is it Warzone? It's something like that. It's like a stim pack or something like that you inject. What is it?
It's Fallen Order because you got BB and like
okay.
stim, please.
You snap your fingers and you do stab yourself with it. You're right, it heals you. But yeah, it's specifically from
if that was like a snarky little like,
BB-8.
Chad, you don't know what this is. I did play and beat Fallen Order it's just so you know.
I just didn't know what a stim canister was. Yeah, we didn't know what a stim canister was.
Well, it's because I played it when it came out and I didn't want anything else to do with it for the rest of the time. Although now I do want to replay it now that all the fucking rope jumps are fixed.
There you go. All right, our last one. Is it a person? Oh, it is a person. I'm telling you that. It is a person. Is it in D&D or is it E3? Strahd von Zarovich.
Are you pronouncing that correctly? Because that will change my answer.
Strahd von Zarovich.
Strahd von Zarovich.
Yes.
I'm for the same reason that I thought Sierra Nueva was not D&D. I'm going to also say this is not D&D. This is E3.
That was going to be my guess as well. E3.
You guys are both saying E3. Strahd von Zarovich is a character in D&D. He's basically Dracula, and there's an entire adventure based around having to kill this man who is Dracula. But it's Strahd. It's called Curse of Strahd. It's very cool. All right, that's the end of the game. I don't know what the scores are.
I think I won.
Does everyone know?
I think I got 8.
I have no idea. Yeah, like 7 or 8 sounds good to me. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Guess.
Yeah. I think the Pokemon
Chat,
one really put me over.
Yeah, chat, let me know because I was not keeping track.
D Smitty Games is paying attention. D Smitty Games got something D&D related correct. And then he said he's the best in the world. So it sounds like he won.
Yeah, Smitty wins. There you go.
Yep.
That's my segment. You guys can go talk about what you're talking about. I just wanted to interrupt because that was the perfect segue. Segue. I know what it is. Alec, tell us what you've been playing.
A lot of Destiny 2.
Hell yeah, that's badass.
Yeah, Lightfall story, it's like that's whatever. But man, because we actually reviewed the expansion for Shared Screens. You can go watch that over there. And that the story itself is, man, not the best, but man, everything post completing the campaign has been some of the best Destiny I've ever played. Like, it has been Strand has been so much fun. Like, once you unlock it all and not stuck with the grapple. The raid was actually really fun. I don't raid very often, but because I was doing the review, I felt like I should, experience the entire expansion of what that has to offer. And the story for Season of Defiance has been so good.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, just it's Bungie, so it's like the gunplay or the guns just feel so good in that game. So it's just it's that perfect podcast game where you just throw a YouTube video on in the background and just do some dailies, go on some strikes. Just yeah, it's such a fun game, and I'm still going back to it, even though I tell myself I'm done with it.
I can never be done with it. In fact, I tell myself I'm going to play something else, and then I'm just like 10 minutes in, I'm like, oh man, Audrey's on Destiny right now. What if I were too? And then I do that instead.
Exactly what I'm finding myself in, just in that vicious cycle of just like, I could play a story driven game, but then just my brain is just like, I just like having multiple things going on. So I play Destiny and I have something else on another screen. And just my brain is just happy. Just
and
multiple
Destiny's
things going
so
on.
good at giving you those like just little checklists of like, oh man,
yes,
I'm so close to like getting this seasonal challenge done, or oh, I'm so close to rank 9 in my Guardian rank, or oh, I'm so close to getting the last little bit of Pinnacle gear this week.
Yep,
it's just
always
a reason to play.
Oh yeah, But then I've actually just wrapped up my replaythrough of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, getting prepped for Survivor later this month. And
Jedi Survivor.
that's actually a game I have done started a couple different playthroughs, but they never got too far. Like maybe like the second planet, just because like I think it was one of them was the PS5 patch, like 60 FPS patch. Another one was when it came to PC for EA Play and Game Pass. Booted up a bit there, but this is the first time I've actually beaten the game fully since 2019 when the game came out. So it was cool getting back to some of the later portions of the game where I kind of like knew the major beats, but forgot like the inner workings of how they got from place to place. So it's really cool to see that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about doing a replay. I mean, I've beaten that game 5 times, so I was like, maybe one more. Maybe one more, getting ready for Survivor. But
especially too, because I actually have the book Battle Scars, which takes place between the games. So I wanted to beat that game, read the book before Survivor comes out, just so literally it's like everything I'm caught up on.
I might need to do that. God, I love that. I know Chad has bad taste and didn't like the first one, but
I'm sorry I played it when it was broken at launch and wasn't as good.
You played it on.
I mean, I did too,
I'm sorry,
and I still
supported
beat it
with $60.
But no, I adore it, and I'm excited that you're replaying that.
But I played with some mods this time around, and it was fun. Like,
oh, that's right, with the different lightsaber hilts and stuff.
Different, yeah, that. I had a few different mods installed. One of them, I changed Cal Kestis's kind of default suit to a character from the Force Unleashed, General Ram Koda.
Chad, what is so funny down here? He's dying laughing in the corner.
I know you can't hear it because of the Discord noise gate. I just let out a massive fart and it scared my dog and he barked at my ass.
So your face just turned beet red.
Bro, you turned into a tomato first. You look like Larry the tomato. Wait, is it Larry the cucumber? I don't know.
It's Larry the cucumber, and I don't remember who the tomato
Jacob
was.
the tomato.
Bob. Wasn't it Bob the tomato?
Bob, it is Bob the tomato. You're right. Yeah, Chad, I didn't hear any of that, but I hope the podcast listeners hear all of it.
I'll try to remember it. Let's see. All right, 141 on my time code. I'll try to make sure that that's like amplified. Oh God.
Oh Lord. But yes, mods. Cool
yeah, so different outfit. And then just a couple like kind of gameplay stuff. Like one of them was a dismemberment mod. So like stuff actually, limbs actually fly off. It was kind of in an alpha beta stage, so it's like they got like the same body parts kind of flung off every time, but it was still cool. Like actually have something, not just the stormtrooper just fall. And then the other one was a lightsaber marks. So like when you're swinging your lightsaber around, like walls and floors would actually leave a mark in there rather than just like inside some sort of metal or like the Imperial stuff. It would leave marks in the base game. Just nothing too crazy, but just stuff to kind of change it. The thing that sucks is that the mod I use for like the outfit, it would cut out like BB-8 or a BD-1 would like kind of phase in and out. Like I could only see his legs. So it was like something with the outfit itself was kind of messing with that. So like that kind of sucked, but yeah, you got used to it. It was still just more I could play it on an easier difficulty. Just to kind of get through the story, but some of those fights are still rough.
Yeah, I eventually had to switch to the super easy difficulty because I found that the countering mechanic was not as like refined as Sekiro, which had just come out before it too, and so I was really used to that like really like twitchy and then like this didn't feel as good to me, and it was really difficult for me to find the timing on it. So I was like, I got to back this down to easy to have a huge open window, especially these boss fights.
That final boss fight where she can just do an attack that like drains your health, your force, and all that. And it's literally does like half your health.
Yeah.
It's just like, cool. Out of heals. And it's like, I was so close to lowering it to like the easiest difficulty, but it was one of those, like I got her within like the last couple swings. And then we just have that, one of the best cameos in gaming.
Bro,
with Darth
the end of
Vader.
that game is wild.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's a horror movie now. That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah.
All right. Chad, what have you been playing besides D2 TOS plus Monday Night Football?
Yeah.
I didn't think you liked football.
Been playing Monday Night Football over in the UK. They do the Manchester United versus what's the Ted Lasso team? The
AFC
Richmond.
Yeah, AFC Richmond. Yeah. No, it's Destiny 2 Trials of Osiris. No, I don't know why I put OS for Trials of Osiris. TO Trials of Osiris, and MNF is Master Nightfalls. One of the changes they made this season is the way that Legend and Master difficulties work. Like, it used to be just a high power level, and you could eventually grind and get up to that power level, and then it's like accomplishable. And now there is a cap. Like, Legend is always at 1630, and you will always be capped at 1615. And Masters, it's a 20-point gap too. So like, it's an interesting little spin on it, and it's something that you will never be able to grind to like feel powerful in it. But it was too hard. Like, it was all way too hard for a while, and especially like the legendary lost sectors and stuff like that. So this week, they nerfed the difficulty. They gave all the enemies and stuff like that a lot less health in Legend and Master stuff than they had previously. So
like 10% less health.
Yeah, and it made a big difference. And so we did a Master Nightfall. Yeah, we did a Master Nightfall, which this week was the Glassway Strike, which is like infamously one of the worst frickin' Nightfall strikes in the world. And we beat it our first try. It was like, I felt more competent and more confident in my playthrough of this version of the Master Nightfall than I ever did in one where I could grind up to that level. So like, it felt good, and it makes me feel good about maybe being able to do a Grandmaster, because I only need one more strike, and I think Glassway used to be like the 6th strike for my seal that I could never get. So like, I'm like, oh man, I might be able to do this pretty easily on Grandmaster. So that was a relief to see that content get nerfed a little bit, so it's more approachable. And then Trials, it was double Trials this weekend, and Trials is like all the sweats, the play hards, the try hards, playing PvP. Something that I've never wanted to do. I have never been good at. In fact, I only did it last year once because they changed the way that like the gear that you get is acquired. So like, you could actually get the armor just by losing a lot. Too. Yeah. And
that's so I got a bunch of the stuff.
Yep. I got that full armor set, and now this year they introduced, you could go back and get legacy armor. You could exchange engrams for legacy. I was like, damn it, now there are 2 whole sets that I need. So we played last night, and it actually wasn't, I don't know if they like improved their matchmaking skills, but Audrey and I played with randoms. Like, he just matchmade us with a 3rd random all the time last night, and it was like, we actually won a few matches, and we won the 50 rounds, like individual rounds. It's like best of 5. We won 50 rounds over the course of maybe 2 hours, enough to get the pinnacles for the week. So I was like, damn, I didn't have as miserable of a time as I thought I would. I still felt super inferior to most people, but...
So what you're telling me, as you said, was it Friday or Saturday night you said you played?
This was last night, so Saturday night.
Last night, okay. So not Sunday afternoon like what me and a couple people did. We were just getting destroyed because we were waiting till the flawless pools went up. So thinking like, people would go move to those, and so it wouldn't be as sweaty in the regular, but nope.
Yeah. We definitely had
I'm
to
also
play
not a
like
PvP person, so I'm more PvE.
My crew, we run PvE content and only do PvP when we have to. Like when we have to grind out a stupid Iron Banner shader, or when we have to grind out something else.
I don't mind Iron Banner. I think Trials is just that next level of PvP.
Yeah, it's gross. I hate it. But I didn't have, the point is, I didn't have as terrible of a time as I thought. And in fact, I might go play a little bit more today just to, because after 2 hours of playing, I still only got 1 piece of armor, and I still have like 9 more to go to complete both sets. So
chasing that immortal SMG.
Oh yeah. I also saw after 2 hours, like, man, we're ranking up. We're getting lots of points and stuff like that. And then I went to go check our rewards, and like, we only got the first 2 categories of rewards. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yep.
I played Wario Land 3, which we did the Barf episode for, that just went up yesterday. So if you're listening, go check that out. That's our backlog accomplishment with Respawn and Friends game that you all get to vote for. So over at patreon.com/respawnamefire and twitter.com/respawnamefire, you voted in a poll. And for April, You have voted for us to play. Shit, what are we playing? Oh, Strangers
Final
of
Fantasy
Paradise.
Origins,
Final
Stranger of
Fantasy
Paradise.
Origins.
We're gonna kill chaos. Ooh,
killing
fun.
chaos.
Kill
Cannot
chaos.
wait.
It was a close run between that and Bionicle Heroes. And in fact, they tied on Twitter, but that wasn't enough to complete the Patreon vote.
I will say, I appreciate that Alex is a fan of these weird random games, but trying to find Bionicle Heroes sounded like a nightmare. So I'm kind of glad it's a common game, or like a modern game, excuse me.
So go check out our March Barf episode with Warrior Land 3. We had John Hansen from Pixel Street Podcast on there, so he had some great insights. In fact, I think he was probably our most positive on the game, and maybe Alex was the most negative on it. Or was it you?
Which is
Did
strange.
you hate it? I can't remember.
No, I thought it was fun. I thought it was really for 2000. I was like, this is really impressive for 2000.
Yeah. This literally just happened 48 hours ago, and I've forgotten everything we said
Alex
about it.
hated it. He said it was the worst thing he's ever played in his life.
Yeah, in fact, I'm pretty sure he said he stomped his 3DS that he was playing on it. Like, he just bought all this 3DS eShop stuff, and then he just like stomped it and something about flushing it, like not down a toilet, but like
hate to see it.
A waterfall. I can't remember. Anyway, go check out that. And if you want to hear the Wario Land 3 cockroach story that I teased last time, check it out. That's it. That's all I played. Right? Oh, yeah. And then DD Hat is Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, which I had as DD Hot on here before. I don't know where my brain was. Yeah. Honor Among Thieves.
All right, we're gonna move on to our last couple stories in the quest log today. And so I got to before we get there. Alec, this is an interesting story to tell you. First of all, how do you feel about Breath of the Wild?
Oh, I love it. It was one of those games I just lost my entire life to when it came out.
Perfect, because I thought I was alone in the world, but me and Chad both didn't like that game. I don't think it's awful, but I was just like, this is not what I want to play from a Zelda game. Chad's similar. Alex Kozina also felt the same way. It's like, wow, how do we randomly find these three people who don't like Breath of the Wild? But he recently said he's trying to replay it, getting ready for Tears of the Kingdom, so he might flip his Switch. So we'll see. But it's good that you're a big fan because you can talk more about the story than me.
Was that pun intended, Adam? Like he gets so frustrated he flips his Switch?
Yeah. That's exactly what I meant to do.
Or like flip a light switch. Like, oh, I feel differently about this.
Yeah, spin over.
But all not flip his Switch light. Get it? Get it?
Because it's handheld.
Puns? No, because there's a Switch Lite handheld, Adam.
Yeah, I understand this, Chad.
God damn it.
Don't fight in front of the guests.
Just stomping all over my jokes.
Anyways, Tears of the Kingdom was shown off. Some Chris Scullion at VGC. Nintendo has released, and this is why I want you here, Alec, because you like it, so you can explain why.
Balance us out, yeah.
Yes, that works. Nintendo has released 10 minutes of gameplay footage from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and I only took the choice stuff, so there's more interesting things. Throw them in here at the end and tell us about it. The footage, which is narrated by series producer, is it Anuma?
Yep.
Okay, I'm bad with words in general. Shows off Link's new ability in detail. The footage opens with Link exploring how to roll on a horse, while areas of land referred to as Sky Islands can be seen high in the air. A large piece of rock falls from one of the Sky Islands. Link uses one of his new abilities, Recall, which rewinds time, stands on the rock using Recall, and he reaches the Sky Islands above. The footage then shows Link on a larger Sky Island where he takes on a new enemy called a Construct. We're then shown another new ability, Fuse, in which this is the one thing everyone's loving, in which Link takes a tree branch and sticks it to a larger rock to create a new weapon, a makeshift hammer, which the memes are great, where it's just like sticking stuff on top of stuff and making cool. I do think that looks cool. This game is turned into nuts and bolts, and nobody can convince me otherwise. A new ability, Ultra Hand, shows Link joining together large objects with a sticky substance. In one example, he joins 3 large logs together to make a raft, then detaches and reattaches some logs to change its shape. Finally, the footage demonstrates Link's new Ascend ability, which has also been seen in previous trailers. With this ability, Link can pass through some ceilings. While the move has some restrictions, Anuma says as long as there's a ceiling, you can use it anywhere. So again, I took the basic stuff out of there. There's a 10-minute video when he's explaining everything that goes along. Alec, the fan of Zelda, what did this do for you?
I mean, I'm in. Like, this just took... I almost didn't even watch this just because we're so close. Like, we're basically a month out at this point. And I'm like, do I want to... Because one of the cool things about Breath of the Wild was just getting to see all this new things for the Zelda franchise. But a couple people were just like, nope, I think you should watch it. It has some really cool stuff in it that got them even more hyped. So, just watched it on my own, and man, like that fuse ability was so cool because I don't know, just much like a lot of people, I wasn't like the biggest fan of the weapon degradation system. Just I was like, like other Zelda games, you have your sword. That is your sword. You don't have to go around finding tree branches or hammers or whatever. But this kind of feels like a good.
I like too that the fuse. I know we read that it's like, oh, you take a hammer or you take a stick and a rock and it makes a hammer, but like that you can also get extra things out of it. Like they showed you took an eyeball and put it on the end of an arrow, and it's now a homing missile, and the eyeball actually goes and kills the bird.
So it's like a good kind of evolution of that weapon degradation, or kind of an answer to it, where it's like, hey, this isn't going anywhere, but here's something to help remedy that.
I thought it was really dope, and I think I thought what they showed was dope, and it will make Zelda Breath of the Wild fans happy, and if they enjoyed the first game, they will absolutely love everything about the second game. Because when I hear people talk about Breath of the Wild and how much they love it, I hear stories of like, oh my god, there's so many ways to do X number of things. Like, oh, there's this puzzle that I had to complete, and you could do it this way like you're supposed to, or I could take a large sword out of my backpack, throw it on the ground between these two like little electrical things, and then that will complete a circuit that like you can do so many ingenious things. And like that's what they love about it, is that just interacting and living in this really fully thought out physical world with like the physics of it, I guess is what I was trying to get at.
Yep.
For me, I still have not seen the answer to whether or not I will like it, because a lot of my gripes were around like there's no progression really in the game. You have all your abilities from the beginning, your weapons degrade, you don't feel like you find something strong and then it's gone in a second. The rewards in the game are not worthwhile to me. I did so many side quests that ended with a chest that had an opal in it, and I'm like, no one wants a fucking opal. And so like, and the dungeons, of course, the dungeons were kind of like bare bones to me, which were, I guess they're not dungeons, they're divine beasts. So I have not still seen from Tears of the Kingdom whether or not I will enjoy this game. And that's something I'm still, to me, because they're not saying that, it seems like it's more of the same with just extra things that people will enjoy if they enjoyed the first game. New ways to interact with this world, not necessarily a more interesting and complex and worthwhile world for me to explore.
I think it's going to be one of those things that they're holding something to close to the chest. Like they've been really cautious about what they're showing. Like, I mean, they held the title for so long on this game. And like, even just that, because it's just crazy to like, if they're holding that back that long, like what else are they holding back? Because like, I think they heard a lot about, people wanting dungeons back. So I think we're going to be getting dungeons. And I've seen a lot of people breaking down like frame by framing this trailer or this gameplay video. It's like, where are the shrines? They couldn't see any shrines when Link was diving off the island back to the ground. So yeah, it's just
because there were some good shrines in there. Like 1 out of every 8 shrines I went in, I was like, oh, this is a legitimately interesting puzzle to try to figure out. And whereas like the other 6 or 7 of them were like, it's
the one with the motion control maze where you got to bring the ball through the maze.
Or just the same combat shrines that you go to over and over and over. It's like just me defeating the same fucking enemy every time.
But then there's like the really cool ones. Like there's the one, I forget its name, but like it like took away all your equipment and you had to like defeat the enemies on that island or with whatever was on there. That was a really cool.
I got that one.
Yeah, it's where you like randomly show up on that island after a storm and you don't have any of your stuff anymore. Yeah.
Yep.
I remember people being really into that. We'll see, I suppose. I would like if they can meet that medium ground where like the physics puzzle creativity along with the old school, people still want to do dungeon stuff. If they mix that, they got to bang. I mean, they probably got a banger on their hands regardless, but I think more people would be happy.
They got me back in. Like I've already pre-ordered it. I got PTO for May 12th off, so I'm like, if you need me May 12th, I'll be in Hyrule.
All right, and we'll go on to our last story for the day. Alec, you're gonna love this. I write things for myself, right? So you look at this headline and it explains nothing, but it's just a joke because of what I say next. All right. I'm just bringing you into my
Jokes
the way that my
are
brain
funniest when you
process.
explain them.
I gotta explain. He's new. He doesn't know. Anyways,
Comedy.
yeah, it's great. Someone finally did what's right. Christina Alexander at IGN. The murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. See, when I say someone did what's right, and then the immediate follow up is that someone murdered Sonic. That's
You're
the
right.
joke.
That is funny.
It was the right thing to kill Sonic.
That's really funny, Adam. Thank you.
Yeah, I tried. The murder of
Good
Sonic
old
the
knee
Hedgehog.
slapper.
Ooh, buddy. A new murder mystery title featuring the Blue Blur, not Bill Burr and his friends, was released for free on Steam on April 1st. In the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, Amy Rose is throwing a murder mystery themed birthday party for all of her friends aboard the Mirage Express when Sonic suddenly dies. Poor guy.
Jeez.
You play as a new character who just happens to be a new crew member starting their first day aboard the train and work with Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Rogue, and more characters solve the mystery behind Sonic's murder. You get to interrogate everyone, including the host herself, about what happened to Sonic, play mini games on the handheld, and meet a conductor who's set to retire after several years of service on the Mirage Express. As the game progresses, you start to question if Sonic's death was part of the game, or if there are malicious intentions. So yeah, it's like mystery murder theater, and Sonic was the guy who got murdered. I don't know. It's free on Steam. It was an April Fool's joke, and I downloaded it, so I will play it, and I will let you know how it turns out. I just thought it was funny that they made a game about Sonic getting killed.
I didn't even put together that it was an April Fool's thing. I mean, I saw that it was real, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, this is like, what a fun out of left field thing for them to do. But then it's like, oh, fuck, it makes sense 100% now that it's an April Fool's thing.
It's really funny, though. Like, I actually was on Steam. I didn't download it, but on Steam, like, they have, like, the mostly positive, positive, negative, all that. Like, kind of, you can see how people are reviewing it. And this one had, like, I don't think it was overwhelmingly positive. I think it was very positive, but still, like, just to see it on that side be a free thing about Sonic, and it's like, that's really cool that people are actually really liking into this.
Yep, it's right here. I'm looking at my Steam library. There it is downloaded. I'll play it eventually. If I have like a fun for 3 hours and they're making a joke about Sonic being dead, it's I'm all about it. So that's fun.
Is Agatha Christie's? I assume it's just like this is a ripoff of Murder on the Orient Express. If it feels
like it.
Is that public domain now? Has Agatha Christie been dead long enough?
I feel like it's been long enough.
Yeah,
maybe she made those books.
I mean,
like
they just made a
500
movie,
years
so
ago.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Agatha Christie's been dead a long time, I think. So does that make her works public domain yet?
And the thing, he actually writes that entire thing into Google.
Years
It's not a bit.
are required?
I think it's
Let's
100 years, actually.
Like something that just happened with Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah,
That's what I got that horror movie.
The Mysterious Affair at Styles from 1920 and The Secret Adversary from 1922 are public domain. The rest of her novels will enter public domain between the years of 2019 and 2073.
She wrote for a very long time, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Because it's 100 years, I believe, after the work is published, it becomes public domain.
In the UK and most of the civilized world, her works will fall into public domain in 2046, 70 years after her death.
Oh, 70. Okay, interesting. This might be it, this might not. But it definitely seems to be aping that Agatha Christie book.
Yeah.
And that's it for the stories today.
Which means it's time for Game On Game Show. The Game On Our Gaming Show, we play a game called Game On. The gaming show on our game show. Game. We have a returning segment today. One we've done several times. This one is called, Is Resident Evil Good?
Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
So this is a game show where I have the Metacritic scores for a series of Resident Evil games. And I want you all to guess what you think that game got. And then we'll figure out whether or not you think Resident Evil games are actually as good as they are, according to Metacritic. So I have on here more games than I thought I was going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13, I was like, we're going to keep it to only the mainline games, the numbered games. Okay. And then there were so many remakes of the numbered games too, but like, so let's try to rapid fire this.
Yeah, we'll rapid. Rapid.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got visuals up on the screen too for everyone at home to see, or y'all can see over at twitch.tv/affableidiots or youtube.com/ @RespawnAimFire.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is
that's
at
how YouTube
Respawn
works. It's
Fire.
with the @ symbol. All right, so we're going to go not chronologically, but sequentially by number, starting with Twist Resident Evil 0.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to call it, and we'll snake this. So it's going to start. Alec, you're our guest, so I'll let you make a guess at what you think Metacritic score for Resident Evil 0 was, and I'll give you a little bit of context. Obviously, for many of these games, they released on multiple platforms. I am taking the highest scoring platform on release day. So sometimes it came to additional platforms afterwards. Highest scoring platform on release day. So, Alec, what do you think Resident Evil 0 for GameCube got?
I am going to go 82.
82.
84 for me.
84. All right. Survey says 83.
Ooh.
Y'all straddling that thing. So you are both one away. Oh no, I've accidentally deleted my formulas out of this thing. So we're going to do
oh no.
that minus that. Bam, what? And then we're going to bring that over, Papa John's, and we're going to bring those down. Nope.
What is going on here?
We'll just do the averages and see who's closest average-wise. All right, next up, Resident Evil, the original game, came out on PS1. Adam, you're up. What's your guess?
87.
87. All right. Alec.
I'm just going to go 78.
78. All right. Survey says 91.
Oh.
91, yeah. Reviewed much better than y'all thought it did.
Yeah.
All right. Now, there's a remake that came out on GameCube several years later. What do you think the remake of Resident Evil 1 was on GameCube? Alec, you're up.
I'm going to go solid 90.
90. Ooh, why 90?
It's because I know there's a lot of improvements from that, but just, coming with the times, just gotta be doing inflation,
Inflation. Yeah, okay. Adam, what you thinking?
88.
88. Survey says 91, same as the first.
Man, wow, that's actually
the
shocking.
score was adjusted for inflation.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, now we're talking about Resident Evil 2 on PlayStation. The original PlayStation version of Resident Evil 2. Adam.
93.
93. All right.
If the first one was a 91, people like 2 a lot more, so.
Okay. Alec, what do you got?
Gonna go 91. Keep the trend going.
91. Let's see what it is. 89. Ooh.
Really?
A little bit of a deviation in the downwards direction.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see if inflation kept up. Resident Evil 2 Remake. Alec, you're up.
I'm going to give that a 93. I really
right.
like that one.
What'd you say, Adam?
92.
92? 93 is the score. Alec gets that
Hey,
right
100.
on.
Hey.
All right, next up comes Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
This is the original release, right?
This is the original release, correct?
81.
81. All right, Alec.
86.
Survey says 91.
Oh.
Talk about
What?
some
I thought
revisionist
people-
history, right?
I thought people hated Resident Evil 3.
Yeah.
Or didn't hate it, but liked it a lot less.
Yeah. Yeah, it turns out. No, in fact, they liked that better than Resident Evil 2. And equally as much as they liked Resident Evil.
That's weird.
All right, what about the remake of Resident Evil 3 that came out recently? Conspicuously not titled Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Just Resident Evil 3.
Just remake.
I've forgotten who this is. Alec, are you up?
I think it's Alex first. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to go 88.
86.
86. All right. This one is an 84. Ooh, did not do as well. Yikes.
Not even a little bit. Because that's what people said about the remake is what I remember. I didn't remember them saying anything about Nemesis, but I don't know. It's also the PS1, so there was like 3 people reviewing video games, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, inflation. Boom.
Yeah. Then we get to Resident Evil 4 on GameCube. What do you think,
95.
Adam? 95? Oh, man. Highest one to date, huh?
I think people were horny for that game like nobody's business.
All right, Alec, what do you think?
You took what I was going to guess. So
You can guess the same. That's totally okay.
You can guess the same.
Okay. 94.
94.
For some reason, that's sticking out to me.
96.
Dang it.
Resident Evil 4 on
There's a
GameCube
coin
got a
flip.
96.
There's a coin flip for me. I went the wrong way.
Yeah, I took your number.
All right, now last week, Resident Evil 4 Remake was released on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S and PC. How do you think that one fared? Alec, you're up.
Yeah, I'm going 93.
That'll be a 94, Bob.
94, Bob. Did the people agree? 93. 93 was the score that Resident Evil 4 Remake has right now. All right, now we get into Resident Evil 5. Yeah, go, Adam.
As we're going through this, I know we're going rapid fire, but man, I did not realize people liked Resident Evil this much. Like, we've done this game before, and there's a lot of, like, Pokemons are, like, all in the 80s. And all of these are, like, 90-something plus, which is wild to me.
Like, yeah. Basically everything, I think there's been one under 85.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Wait till you deviate from the numbered entries in the series, though.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
True.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. All right, Resident Evil 5. First co-op Resident Evil mainline game. What do you think, Adam? Right, we're on
87.
Adam? Yeah? Okay.
I think we're on me. Yeah, 87.
87, okay.
You know, put me down for 87 as well, because that's what I was in my mind.
It is 86. Very close, very close.
We're really good at this game. How we'll go ahead and say
Yeah,
that.
right?
We're pretty
This
good.
is not like usually sometimes there's like 11 or 12 or 15 points of difference.
I've had a
Pokemon,
couple
I was
pretty close,
all
yeah.
over the place. Holy,
Yeah.
it was bad. All right.
All right, Resident Evil 6. This was the one with 3 separate co-op campaigns that you play.
Yeah, Alec goes first too, which is good.
I know this one wasn't quite as much liked, so I'm going to go 82.
Yeah, I was thinking low 80s because I'm like, but how much of this is revisionist for like, so I'm like,
Right.
oh, cool.
Right.
I'm going to go 83.
And the number is 74.
Okay, so this was the one people actually did not like.
Was,
Okay.
yeah, and this one I think was a pretty
Okay.
wide margin too. I think 74 was maybe the Xbox version, and then the PC and PlayStation were like in the mid 60s.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. Then we get to Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, a return to form for the series, some might say, and a step into the first person. And who's up? Is it Adam?
I think it's me. I'm going to go 90.
Yeah.
A solid 90. 9-0 across the board, baby.
Okay.
88.
The number is 86. Making it so far, what is this, like the 4th worst? Oh, it's tied
Sounds right.
for 3rd worst scoring Resident Evil game, which I would certainly not have guessed at that point.
For an 88 or 86.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. All right, and then the
I guess
last
because
one
we
on
came
our
off of
list.
6 on to 7, everyone's like, oh, people like Resident Evil again. They hated it, and now they love it, but apparently they
Yeah.
only thought it was
Yeah.
pretty good. Okay, all right.
So now we're getting into Resident Evil Village, which is technically not ever referred to by Capcom as Resident Evil 8, but they do have the
it
Roman
is.
numeral highlighted in the title.
Yep.
So Resident Evil Village, and we are on Alec. What is your? And this is also the final game in our thing.
Let's go 89.
Adam,
87.
87, and the answer is 84. Wow, 84,
Okay.
making
You're
it
talking about this game was
tied
game of
for-
the year contender.
I know,
What's
right?
going on
It's
here?
tied for second worst game in the series.
Jeez.
Which is wild. So
Yeah.
In general, so if we average all of these out, oh my God, Alec, you are so good at this game. Okay, in general, Metacritic and the industry thinks Resident Evil games, the mainline series, are around an 87.769. Alec also thinks, in general, they are an 87.769. In fact, 87.76923, to be exact. And both of them are also 76923. So Alec basically nailed it, and there's no way to beat him. And then Adam came in second spot, thinking you think they're a little bit better than they actually are, with an 88.23076.
That's still pretty close.
Yeah, still very, very close for this game, for sure. That's like within a half a point.
Yeah. Cool.
There you go. So now we know that, Resident Evil games, I guess, are pretty good. People like Resident Evil.
I mean, when your worst one is 74, but then that's like the outlier.
That's the outlier, yeah.
Everything else is like mid 80s or higher.
Take everything I said about the other two, and instead of being third worst, they were fourth worst. And then say second, they were. I forgot about the 74 one.
Yeah, I just didn't realize they were that popular. I mean, again, I know people like Resident Evil. I know people were like, "This is the greatest thing of all time."
Yeah,
too spoopy for me.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Those are scores like up there with some of the best, like up there with Ocarina of Time. Up there, like these are very well reviewed games.
Yeah. All right.
Well, that is it for Game on Game Show, and that is it for our podcast, episode 302 of Respawn Aim Fire. Thank you, Alec, again for joining us. It was wonderful to meet you just now for the very first time. And
thanks for having me.
I would love for you again to plug anything you would like to plug for where people can find you, how they can continue to support you, etc.
Yeah, so you can find me over on Twitter at Alec Bobko. And for what my content is, I work with a group of people over at Shared Screens. Just the good old, username stuff. We couldn't have shared screens everywhere. So the best place to find it is bio.link/shared screens, because then that just links to all our platforms and all that. You don't have to remember if there's an underscore, if there's not, if there's space, whatever. But yeah, we have pop culture podcasts where we talk about the latest shows and movies, and then we also have some gaming podcasts. So we just reviewed Resident Evil 4 Remake. Gave that lead reviewer Josh on that gave it a 10 out of 10.
Whoa! Wowie! Wow! 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And yeah, we just also reviewed Lightfall recently, or Destiny 2 Lightfall. So go check out those two reviews.
Probably not a 10 out of 10, but still good. Still good.
No, yep, very good, very good one.
Dope. Well, thanks again, Alec, for joining us. If you're listening, you have homework, as you always do. Make sure you do it before next time. Go to patreon.com/respawnaimfire, where you can give us $1, and that gets you all sorts of fun things, like the ability to influence our barf games for the month, like access to our exclusive monthly game show that is now being available for Patreon members. So we're recording our very first one. I forgot to ask Joel about when. Shit, I said his name. Soon. Now people are expecting him to be there, and what if the world happens and he doesn't make it?
He's going to show up.
Our special guest, I forgot to ask him about whether he's available. But yeah, very soon we'll be recording our first one, inspired by Jeopardy, but legally not called Jeopardy. So Alex is going to be running that, and again, we'll have a rotating game show theme each month that you get access to first on patreon.com. And I think that's it. Oh, yeah, you're right. Thank you. Thank you for highlighting that. Barf game. Go watch Wario Land's Barf. And then next month for April, is Final Fantasy Origins Strangers of Paradise. And as Adam so brilliantly pointed out, it's available for like $15 at GameStop. And they have an excellent return policy within 7 days. No questions asked if you buy it used. So go do that, beat it, and return it to GameStop. And then pump money into their stock, diamond hands. That way I can get money. Just kidding, I don't have GameStop stock anymore. All right, that's it. Thanks again, Alec, for being here. And thank you, Adam, for also continuing to be here as a co-host, etc. every day. And thank you, Atreus, for barking at my fart earlier. That hopefully everyone will get to hear on the recording. We'll see if it picked it up. Until next time, here's our usual sign-off. The sound of two cans clinking together. Oh, that's what sex sounds like.